to Straightforward. Today we have joining us the awesome team from Tuskegee University, Dr. Wayne and Mr. Timothy Foster. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you.
Really?
Nice to be here.
Dr. Barr, you work with young people, you're developing talent. Tuskegee is a historic university, and we're so very proud of all of our HBCUs. But you've been there, and you have been grooming them and just culturally enriching them.
Yes.
How long have you been there?
I've been there almost 17 years.
You
and
look
it's
17.
Well, thank you. And I'll
You
keep
should
that for
hold
as long
on,
as
yes,
I can. Right?
yes,
Thank you.
uh-huh.
Thank you, yes. But I've been there 17 years, and it's been a joy, really, to work with the students and watch them grow
Yes.
and to develop.
Right.
And see them move on and continue in their careers. Some of them go on to music careers. We've only recently restarted our music program where we offer degrees.
Oh, you can get a degree in music.
Yes, you can now get a degree in music.
Okay, because we always knew about veterinarian and all of those things that
Right.
Tuskegee is so famous for. So
Yes.
you all have reestablished.
Yes, as of fall 2015.
Really?
That was reestablished. But prior to that, students would go on and have careers that study opera.
Really?
We have students who are gospel artists out there. You know, they
so
go into
you have this wonderful
R&B.
resume of all of those students that you've trained.
Yes.
Yes, with all of that discipline.
Yes.
Because I think sometimes people think the only time you have discipline is in sports.
Yes.
But in music, you have to be disciplined as
Absolutely.
well. And there's a lot of learning with that.
Absolutely.
Learning how to read. If you're reading music, you got to know how to count.
Absolutely.
So you should
Yes,
be
it's-
teaching that sometimes to some of our church choirs, because you know we kind of make up our own things
Yes.
sometimes. I'm sure you find that
Yes,
difficult.
yes, I've done workshops. So,
And you
yes.
are available to do more workshops.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes.
So today you all are going to bless this community with an awesome concert. Share with our audience what that is.
Wow. Well, the concert consists of a variety of music, from classical anthems to Negro spirituals
Really?
and to gospel. And so I think there's a little bit for everyone in there.
Okay.
And the students are excited about performing and presenting for our audience today.
And
I
where
think
will
it's
it
gonna
be?
It's going to be in Nichols Chapel,
Okay.
AME Church. With
That's in
Pastor-
Phoenix City?
Yes, Pastor
Right.
Hudson.
Okay.
And this is going to be I think our 6th or 7th year there
Okay.
performing.
And so Timothy Foster,
Yes, ma'am.
is this your first time performing in our community, or you've performed around the world? You seem so serious about your music career.
Well, actually, this would be the 4th time because I've been in the choir this is my 4th year, my senior. So I've been in the
Really?
choir since freshman year, and I've been doing this concert actually every year since then. So it's been a great experience.
Okay, so
Look
you're
forward
like
to
one
it.
of the stars.
I wouldn't say all.
You're
of
one
it.
of the leads,
Yes,
as we would say in Broadway. You're one of the leads.
Yes, he's humble. But
He is humble.
Yes.
And so, what do you sing? Are you tenor, bass?
Baritone.
You
So bass one, baritone.
Really? And so, what will you be singing in the concert?
As far as like different
Are
selections.
you going to have a solo?
I don't believe I have a solo this concert.
Okay, but what is your favorite solo? Because in 4 years, I know that Dr. Barr has put you up front before.
Well, I must say, when I came in my freshman year, I was able to sing the solo on, it's called We'll Understand It Better by and by.
Oh,
and it's an
yes.
arrangement by, I think it's Kenneth Martin.
I believe so.
And the voices. So that's probably my favorite because that's the first solo I did when I came in. And
That's your
it stuck
claim
to
to
me.
fame. Yeah, can you strike a note for me right quick?
We are tossed and driven on this restless sea of time.
Ooh, it's going to be some shouting today at Nichols Chapel. So you were singing as a child? You grew up in the church singing,
Yes, ma'am.
in the youth choir and all that stuff?
Yes, ma'am. My dad is a preacher, so I have 3 older brothers, and we all sing. So it's been something that's just been happening since I was born.
And so you were able to take that gift, use it in college, and then you had this great professor that was there to help you develop and
Yes, ma'am.
fine tune it. Because you know, and you can tell your father I said this, sometimes in the church choir, everybody get to sing, especially if they pay their tithes and offerings. And we don't always, some of us make up our own versions. So you were able though, and this is just a joke, but you were able to take all of that growing up under your dad's leadership and then use it over at Tuskegee?
Yes, ma'am. And see, my dad will tell anybody he's not the singer in the family, so he
Okay.
knows how it is. You know, when everybody's not.
When he needs
Right.
a song, he relies on you all.
And his thing has always been he'll stick to the preaching and we'll stick to the singing.
All right.
So yes, ma'am. And it's been a great experience being able to work under Dr. Barr and his leadership.
And so, Dr. Barr, when they come to Tuskegee University, of course, it's a historical black college and university, and we're so very proud. How do they get in the choir for parents that
Sure.
might not know?
Well, we have an audition process.
Okay.
And so we go through about a 10, 15-minute audition where I, just get a feel for their voices and their range and quality of the voice. See what they can do in terms of reading music.
Yes.
Though the majority of students who come actually do not read music.
Really?
But what I do is I assess their ability to adapt to the score.
I gotcha.
And so, would you be able to do this? And, based on that, I accept them.
Okay.
And most, are accepted into the choir.
Right. And so you have them like Timothy first year, and then
Yeah.
they stay, and
Yeah.
then they go on. You say you got some that go on to opera and
Sure.
Broadway and
Sure.
R&B and gospel.
Yeah.
That's your reward.
That's my
Because
role,
I'm
yeah.
sure with your credentials that you could be somewhere else making a whole lot of money. So this has to be a calling for you. It's not a job.
It is. And even for those who don't go on to a career in music, they still cherish those memories, the experiences that we provide, and they, return each year for homecoming, and wow, that's
Right. And,
So
and
it's-
that's your pay.
Oh yes,
Right.
That's it.
Yeah. So before we run out of time, tell us once again where the concert is today and what time it'll start.
Yes, it'll be at Nichols Chapel, AME Church. It begins at 4 p.m.
Okay. It's free?
It is free.
It is free, and so there's no
Yes.
excuse. People can come and hear all of this
Yes.
wonderful talent where you've trained some of the brightest minds, and we're expecting for an awesome concert today. I thank you so much for coming and sharing, and I want you to continue to do what you're doing because you are changing lives,
Thank
and we
you.
really do appreciate that.
Thank you.
And you must come again.
Will do.
All right.
Thank you. ma'am.
We'll be
Thank
right
you.
back after word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Chalk by Quincy introduces Excellence Redefined, timepieces of the finest technology, luxury, and class with tons of style at chalklifestyle.com. Renal Associates, LLC, a team of physicians dedicated to excellent kidney care with 5 convenient locations to serve you. Stark Avenue, Columbus, Bradley Park, Columbus, Lafayette Parkway, LaGrange, East Burkhalter Avenue, Buena Vista, and Springs Street in Warm Springs. The Framing Factory and Art Gallery, specializing in quality art and framing for all your needs. Original etchings, limited editions, and prints. Call Carlton Dickey today at 706-324-3823 or visit the Art Gallery at 1325 17th Street in Columbus.
Walmart's reason for supporting Thurgood Marshall College Fund is simple. We like to win. And we have been given a lot of exposure to some incredible talent. And we also believe that it's a part of our responsibility to the community to give back. This is a great opportunity to do both. It's been a wonderful experience for us through the years. We've appreciated our partnership. We believe in return on investment, and we have definitely had a remarkable return.
I'm Drew Brees, and being a dad means the world to me. I'm Drew Brees, and being a dad means the world to me. And one of the most important things any parent can do is make sure their kids get active at least 60 minutes each day. Studies show that physical activity not only helps kids stay healthy, it can enhance important skills like concentration and problem solving, which can improve academic performance. This means physical activity can help your kids in the most important game of all, life.
Come meet your new best friend at Paws Humane.
Adopting from your shelter makes sense. You get a great friend checked by our vet. They're fixed, all shots, microchipped, all ready to make you and your family's life better. 4900 Milton Road, Columbus. Paws Humane.
Come meet your new best friend at Paws Humane.
And welcome back to Straightforward. I am so excited to have my former professor from the Albany State University, the one and only legendary Dr. T. Marshall Jones.
Well, what a joy to see you, my feisty majorette of many years ago. And I just want to say Happy New Year to you, and I know you're doing so well, and I'm so proud of your efforts here.
Well, it is truly an honor that you would take the time and come back. You've been here before, and I was so excited when I called you, when you've had a student that's, 40 years ago, and they call your home, and you answer the phone, and you hear the voice, and you say, "Oh, this is Gloria," and then you were just so supportive, willing to take the time and come and share and help me on this venture. So I can't thank you enough for all that you poured into my life and that you're continuing to do with me on this venture. I can't thank you enough.
Well, it has been my pleasure from that time to this very moment. But when you called, and I thought to myself, now, what are we going to do this time? And you mentioned something about the arts and music.
And the
of course,
humanities,
the
and how that is so important to education. Dr. Jones, you were the department chairperson, and all of the folks that had any talent, you've just developed a lot of talents over the years. But we are in a political environment now where they always want to cut the funding for the arts. But those are some of the things that kept people in college.
Yes.
And you were just sharing with me about many of them that have gone on to be band directors, choral directors, and then other type of leadership positions. So, explain to our audience how important that is, the humanities.
Well, the humanities, the arts are very important. In fact, they help us to establish a position in life. Sometimes we say, well, the arts and music, it's used to do something to the sin-sick soul. And I remember being in the Army, and when the sergeant would give me something foolish to do, I would then go after that and play my instrument until I wore it off and I got back to my normal self, because that's what music does to you.
Right.
It can soothe
Right.
whatever has
As they
caused
say,
you to stress.
music soothes the savage beast.
Yes, it does.
Right.
Yes, it does.
And for many of those young people that I know that you recruited, and we've said this before when we visited, a lot of them came from very poor rural families. And when you went out to recruit, because you wanted talent, you didn't care about what their family status was. But that was life-changing for many of them.
Yes.
When you brought them into Albany State University, at the time college band, and they were able to be a part of something that important, and then travel to other places and participate in halftime shows, it really made a difference in the lives of them and their families.
Well, one of the things, Gloria, when I went to Albany State back in 1963, we had a 32-piece band, and that's what we marched on the banner, the Marching 32.
Really?
But Mrs. Helen Mays, who was the registrar at that time, and I said to her, now, if the football coach can go out and recruit for football players, why can't I get on the committee and recruit for band members?
Yes.
And so she put me on the committee, set up trips for me to make, houses and homes to stay in, and I talked to the band directors, talked to the parents of the students, and so we built a tremendous relationship. And being connected is very important when you get out and you decide that, well, I'm going to build this program because I need to have people that can do what I need to do, just like the coaches do.
Exactly.
And so when
because everyone's not an athlete.
this is so true.
Right.
And I remember as a young man in elementary and high school, sometimes people would look at you a little funny if you were in music. And so I always having to defend my profession. But it so happens that the music from 5 years old until this very day has been what has been my mainstay.
Right.
And it has enabled me to travel not only across this state, this country, but the world.
Yeah, internationally.
Internationally.
Yes. But you've had some wonderful success stories, and I was able to go and track one of the students, and he was doing a concert, and he was just this magnificent voice. And of course, he wasn't one of those marching ram show band people like myself, but he was very accomplished, very professional, and he had really reached some very high places in life.
Yes.
So those are the kinds of seeds that you've sown.
Well, as we were talking earlier, we have students now from Columbus, from Macon, who went through the program, learned the tricks of the trade, so to speak, and they have now returned to their hometowns. You have right here in Columbus a young man who is the band director of one of your wonderful high schools.
Really?
In Macon, we have a young man, because of his acumen and his academic prowess, he went to Albany State on a presidential scholarship, never paid a dime.
Really?
And he graduated summa cum laude and came back to Macon, and he's now the band director there. And his band will almost match Albany State's.
Really?
Because he took what he learned there
Right.
and applied it to his position.
Right, so he's keeping that T. Marshall standard.
He's keeping the standard.
You know, and that's the thing that I struggle with the bands now, because I can be very critical, because you have very high standards. You were going to have good character.
Yes.
You were going to be a good leader on campus.
Be
You
disciplined.
couldn't be in all that shenanigans, because putting on that marching ram show man uniform, that was, that was a privilege.
Yes, it was.
And so regardless, it was like, you got to keep these standards, and wherever we traveled to, we had to keep those standards as well.
Yes,
Right.
by all means. The other thing that I think of is that it wasn't just that you would play the notes correctly, or that you'd get the dance routine and the
Right.
to the rear marches and all of that, but we dealt with building character.
Yes.
Because I've always said, and even to the young men that I mentor today, that when they take you to the graveyard, the only thing that does not go in the grave with you is your character.
Yes.
So you can live and preach your own eulogy by the life you live.
See, and those were the things that we had that made us want to be a part of whatever the program you had. And that's the kind of thing that I'd like to see move into the new Albany State, because we've had a lot of changes, and of course now
yes.
you've retired, but those are the things that we need to still hold on to. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our break, go to our sponsors, and we'll come right back and we'll take up that point.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds like a winner.
We'll be right back after a word from some of our sponsors. Straightforward is brought to you by Warrior Outreach. Contact Command Sergeant Major Retired Sam Rhodes or Kathy Rhodes. The Hugel Foundation, enriching the community through Christian music support, community outreach, and the Georgia Through Photography Project. For more information, call B at 706-568-6431. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road, trusted by generations. Best Care, transforming minds and bodies, leading the way in the latest techniques of medical weight loss and wellness. Certified in family medicine and bariatrics, Dr. Blunt is ready to assist in the transformation of your mind and body. Call today, 706-221-6477, or visit bestcarecolumbus.com. East Alabama Endocrinology, educating and caring for those living with diabetes in Alabama and Georgia. 1400 Bradley Lake Boulevard, 3320 Skyway Drive, Suite 602, Opelika. Take charge of diabetes and live your best life. Kia Chambers School Board at Large, the Gold Star Program. Paving the path to success through academic achievement, student empowerment, leadership development, and citizenship. Encouraging all students to reach for the stars. And welcome back to Straightforward. I'm continuing my awesome conversation with the one and only legendary Dr. T. Marshall Jones from the Albany State University.
Oh, you're so kind.
Oh, no, but it's just so true. I mean, there are a lot of our alumni here in Columbus, and we were, just a part of your program, and We have gone on to be productive adults. But there's a poem that you like to share with students.
Yes, I would.
And I'd like for you to share that with us today.
Many years ago, but
Yes.
I really want to mention this. It's entitled, I Am Music. Even before life began upon this earth, I was here in the winds and the waves. And when humans came, I at once became the most delicate, most subtle, and most powerful medium for the expression of humans' emotions. For I speak to all people in a language that all understand. I am the food of love. I have taught people gentleness and peace. I comfort the lonely. I heal the sick. I am a necessary luxury to all people. I am America's roots. I am Georgia's roots. I am the world's roots. I am Columbus's roots. Who do you think I am?
I am music. Oh,
Yes.
I love that. Awesome. You know, and that's the thing about just being in your presence and a part of anything that you're doing, because it's excellence. I visited your church.
Yes.
You're a part of that. You all have a wonderful music ministry. I mean, just all of the instruments. I mean, it's like a major production. It's like going to Broadway,
Well,
actually.
It keeps us busy.
Yes,
And
so
we practice.
I know, and that's one thing about you. You believe in practicing, whether it was morning, noon, or night. You're
Yes.
going to perfect it.
Oh, yes.
And so you have continued, though, not just with all the work that you do with the students and traveling around, but you have maintained your own professional career with a jazz
quartet.
and you're still participating in music programs all over.
Yes, yes, yes. We started this back in about 1972, the year I came back from the University of Oklahoma, and Dr. Smith, who was from Columbus and taught at South Girard High School,
Right.
came on board, and so we decided to form this faculty jazz quartet. And as a result of that, we practiced and got ready for many performances. But we played at the Governor's Awards in the Arts when I was on the Arts Council at Symphony Hall.
Really?
And Fletcher Wolf, the founder of the Atlanta Boys Choir, heard us, and he said, I'm organizing the first Festival of the Arts to Italy, and you must be the jazz component.
Really?
So we went back and we talked to Dr. Black at that time, who was in chemistry, and he said, if you cover your classes, you can go. We raised the money, and we left, and we spent 35 days in Italy, southern
Really?
and northern Italy.
And see, a lot of times it's the professional athletes that get that type of exposure,
That's true.
or the football players. But having those musical skills actually took you around the world.
But then the other important thing is that when you study the history of the theory, the history of the musicians, the great composers of the world, and then all of a sudden you get a chance to go to those places where it all happened.
Yes.
And I have pictures of my standing in the front of Johann Sebastian Bach's grave.
Really?
Yes.
Yes.
Standing in Karlovy Vary in the Czech Republic. And the great composer Anton Dvorak, who wrote the New World Symphony, and he listened to the melodies of Harry T. Burley, the only African American in his class at the New York University. And it was upon listening to those melodies that he wrote the New World Symphony and that famous second movement, which is called Going Home. It's used by members from funerals and just to listen and to just kind of meditate when you
Really?
hear that, because it's such a wonderful melody. Go
So,
ahead.
I mean, but see, that's the thing, just to sit with you and to just learn, you know, and that's something that I think a lot of our young people don't have, where you could actually, as Oprah Winfrey would say, sit with the masters, you know, and she always liked to sit with Maya Angelou.
Yes.
Whenever I'm visiting with you, that's the feeling that I have, because I don't care how often I talk to you, I'm always learning something, and it makes me want to be better. And that's what I want our young people, is to see people like you, to hear those stories. We have a new performing arts school here in Columbus. And of course, Kia Chambers, my niece, is the chairman of the school board.
Oh, great.
And she's an Albany State alum as well, she
Wonderful.
and her husband. So we'll have to have you come
Yes.
and visit that
Oh,
brand new school that
it
we
would
spent all
be
that money on.
my
Because
delight.
you would definitely be in your element, because
Yes.
that's, you know, that talent and that's that energy.
Well, the other thing that I wanted to mention, because you were talking about saving the arts, and I was privy to serve on the National Endowment for the Arts, and met one of the world famous fathers of the musicians from New Orleans. Branford Marcellus, their father, Ellis Marcellus.
Right,
we
very
served
talented.
3 years on the Jazz Fellowships panel. But the important thing is that you must be connected, and when you are connected, then you can have things happen. We have people who are at the Capitol every day who are vouching for us in terms of the arts and humanities.
Yes.
And we appreciate the governor for including us in his budget. But you have to have a relationship and show why
Right, show
you
the value.
must, the value of the
it.
arts and the humanities.
Yeah.
And so I continue to serve on the Humanities Council, and I'm at a meeting in Atlanta on Thursday
All right, but
to
see,
talk about the
but
business
you're
of
the
the
walking
arts.
testimony. I can tell you of the people that I know came from very rural, poor families once they left under your leadership, that they could go on and be great people. It changed their life. It changed their lives of their family members, their other siblings. It made people want to go to college.
But the other thing that's been a part of my teaching, not only just the music, but we talked about building character. I have done courses, presentations in etiquette. How do you use your knife and your fork and your spoon?
Yes.
How do you go and call upon a young lady and speak to the father and build some trust?
Right.
What do you do when you take her to a movie? Do you make sure that she is seated properly before
Yes.
you sit down? Those are just basic things of life
Right.
that our students must.
And so
must-
you're mentoring all the way around. And of course, I know when we would go to Jacksonville to the Gator Bowl, and
Yes.
we would go to Edward Waters College, and
Oh,
they would
yes.
feed us. I mean, but you laid the rules out,
Yes.
and people followed the rules.
We
didn't
have
have
to.
any incidents. It's like we are going away from home. They're hosting us, and we will conduct ourselves accordingly. And we did that.
But then the other thing is that when you deal with rules and regulations, the bottom line is that you must have the people who are the participants to buy into
Yes.
what is right, what is proper. And so I always felt so good about my bands because they always bought into what we were trying to do. And
Yeah.
you laid the ground rules, so then you had to abide by the ground rules that you had laid
Well,
for
you
yourself.
were an excellent mentor, and it's always my pleasure and honor to have you. I have to have you back again. We won't wait for the whole year. We'll have to get on that schedule. But I thank you so much for changing my life and all the other lives that you changed.
Thank you for the honor, and I continue to congratulate you on doing a great service.
Thank you so much. This has been straightforward. If you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. Until next time, be blessed.